Hello, it's Andrea from Prairie Sky Paper Crafts. So I had this idea for a card fold last night and it's been in my head for hours. I went to get my vaccine shot today and now I have a chance to play. So we are going to be using a couple of the new in colors for this card. Soft Succulent and Evening Evergreen. I have already fussy cut out a couple of the pansies from the Pansy Petal Designer Series paper. If you have the dies, you can actually cut these guys out with them. They fit perfectly. And I've also got a piece of the Designer Series paper that I've already cut to 5 1/4 by 4. And my basic white card base is 5 1/4, sorry, 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. Just gonna grab my bone folder here and burnish the edges. I'm going to keep that handy because there's actually a little bit of measuring with this card. Not too much. It's not terribly complex, but you will need your either scoreboard or your trimmer that has the scoring blade in it. But I'll also show you how you can just do it with your bone folder. Okay, so I've got my trimmer here and I'm going to make 2 marks on the card. We're going to be folding it this way. So this is 1 inch down from the top and 2 1/4 inches in from the edge. So I'm just going to use my pencil and line it up, on the 4-inch mark. And I'm going to do a pencil mark at 2 1/4, and then I'm going to rotate it, line it up on 1 inch line, and then just make an mark at 1 inch. So then what I'm going to do is with my trimmer blade, now when I do this, you can either pop out your cutting blade, and I do that if I'm doing a lot of scoring so that I don't get messed up, or just pop it up to the top where it's out of the way. Now you're going to line up your 2 pencil marks in your cutting track and then just run the score blade over. I like to do it a couple of times, just to make sure that it's a really good crisp score. Now, if you don't have a scoring tool, you can actually do the same thing with a bone folder, a stylus, and a straight edge. So you just make your marks and then with your straight edge, draw your line, and you'll achieve the same results. So I'm just going to put this off to the side. We're not done with it yet because we do need to cut our Designer Series paper. But I'm just going to fold this first and burnish the edges to make a nice crisp fold. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in my piece of Designer Series paper. Now we're going to mark it at the same. I tried this a few different ways, and this was the result that worked best for me. So you're going to mark it at the same dimensions. So 2 1/4, and then rotate and then mark it at 1. Now, when we're done, you will need to trim a tiny little bit off of the triangle piece, depending on the look that you're wanting to go for. So for this one, we're going to line up the pieces again. Now, when you do your paper, the side that you've made your marks on is going to be the reverse for the other one, and this will be the main pattern for your card. So whichever one you want for the background piece is the one that you need to have facing up when you cut it. So I'm just going to go ahead and line up my trim marks. A little hard to see because I didn't make them very dark. There we go. And with the cutting blade, just 1 quick slice and you're done. Okay. So now I am finished with the trimmer, so I'm just going to put it away. Okay, so we've got our Designer Series paper that's going to go like this. Now, this piece doesn't really matter what it looks like because it's going to be covered by the flap, but I still do like to make sure that it's somewhat centered. I'm going to bring in my trusty adhesive and I'm going to go all the way around because this is an odd cut and I don't want anything to pop up. So I'm just gonna make sure that looks good. stick it down. And then this piece, when you pop it up, this will be your reverse piece. So I just need to trim a tiny little bit off of this edge. So I'm just going to place it just in the track. Make sure that it's straight, hold it down, and then just, oops, trim off a tiny little bit. There we go. All right. You can also just trim with your scissors if that's easier, just to get the look that you're going for. Okay, I'm happy with that. So now I'm just going to run adhesive again on all of the sides, just because I don't want the triangle flaps to stick up. And if something's not quite right, or you're not really loving the way something looks, you can always just cover it up with a little bit of bling. Okay, so this part of our card is finished. I'm going to grab my 2 shades of cardstock and the sprig punch, and I'm just going to punch out a couple. Now I'm going to go closer to the center because I love paper savers, and this can be used as a base layer, or it can be used for something else in the future as well. Punch that out, and I'm going to do one in the soft succulent. And then for this, I'm going to grab my glue dots. So the first thing that I'm going to do is put a tiny little bit of adhesive right on the edge. I'm not going to go all the way because I want to tuck the sprigs in behind. And then I'm going to grab my glue dots. And on the back, I'm just going to press it to the roll, and then, oops, there's 1, 2, and remember which way the glue is so that they don't stick to my desk. Okay, oops, that one didn't go. So just press and lift. If you have take your pick tool close at hand, you can also use the spatula edge and just flip it off with the spatula edge. So I'm going to tuck these guys in behind. I'm going to kind of overlap them just to give it a little bit of interest. Actually, I use this one a lot too at Christmas time. It kind of reminds me of reindeer horns. Okay, so there's our greenery. And then I'm going to take the pansies, and I'm actually going to pop them up on dimensionals. Now you can layer the dimensionals to give them just a little bit more of a pop on your page. So I'm going to do this one with a couple, and then I'm going to do the pink one, stack it. I'm going to do 2. So do 1, take the backing off, and stick the other one right on top, and take the backing off. So it'll make it pop up just that little bit more. All right. And then this little one, I'm actually just going to stick on the card, but I'm also going to do a dimensional on that as well. So I'll do this purple one first. Oops, I already took the backs off those 2. And then we're going to stick the pink one on there. And then this little guy can be just kind of tucked over so that he kind of, or she, it kind of holds the card closed as well. So it gives it just a little bit of interest and variation. And you can see that you can still open the card quite easily and then just tuck it back to close the card up. Sentiment. What am I going to use for that? Let's see. Okay, I've got the happy birthday sentiment from the art gallery stamp set close at hand, so I will use that. And choices. Actually, I've got this guy left over from my paper pumpkin kit marathon that I did. I love paper pumpkin. There are so many variations that you can do with it, and generally speaking, you do get quite a few extra pieces. So I'm going to stick that there, and I'm going to pop it up on a dimensional as well. And don't forget to hit subscribe below if you'd like to be notified every time a new video is posted. I try to post a video every Monday and every Friday. And then I also do a Facebook Live on my Facebook page, Prairie Sky Paper Crafts, with different folds and tips and techniques and ideas. So please feel free to check that out as well. Now I'm just going to add a little tiny bit of bling right in the center of each of the flowers. These are the basic rhinestones, and they just make everything, pop just a little bit. All right, we'll do that one instead. All right, so there's that card. Fairly straightforward, just a little bit of a different fold really kind of makes it something special and a little bit different. If you don't have your Stampin' Up! Catalog yet and you're in Canada and would like one, please feel free to comment down below or send me an email, prairieskypapercrafts@gmail.com, and I'll get one out into the mail for you. And if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.